So the other app I decided to try is called Popplet. I read about it in one of our readings, and shout out to Jackie, but last semester she presented to us on concept maps, and as soon as she did, that was something that I immediately brought back to my classroom and tried with my kiddos. We have a nonfiction unit where we read a textbook about not a textbook, a mentor text about natural disasters, ranging from, volcanoes to floods, to bushfires, to tornadoes, and it's always just like a very heavy, dense book with a lot of content. So I had my kiddos, instead of sitting on the rug and just kind of absorbing my information that I was reading, I had them sit at their desks and create a concept map about tornadoes while I was reading. And they love doing it with paper, but I think that this tool would really increase student engagement, and it would allow students to make that connection between reading and writing, because as a teacher is reading a nonfiction text aloud, the kiddos can be making a Popplet to describe what they learned using writing. So for example, if I was a student listening to the read aloud, I would be like, oh, Miss Doby's just said that there's something called the Fujita scale. That is what is used to measure what a tornado, the strength of a tornado. I know that scale ranges from 0 to 6. I know that off of that 0 to 6, I want to say that 0 is weakest. That's an O. 0 is weakest, and 6 is strongest, etc. You get the point. But the really cool thing about this is if kids did it on their iPads after you're reading, you could have them take a screenshot and post it on Seesaw, and then they could narrate it to you as well, so that they could read to you, today I learned about tornadoes, I learned about this scale that they're measured in, I learned that the scale is 0 to 6, I know that 0 is the weakest and 6 is the strongest. So it would really give you a written product of kind of a formative assessment of what they learned from your read aloud for that day. This also could be used for the pre-writing phase, or the pre-writing planning phase of the writing process or the writing workshop. You could have students complete any type of graphic organizer on here instead of on a physical piece of paper, and it would really increase engagement, and it would make it a lot easier for some students when they're actually writing their drafts, because instead of struggling to read their tiny handwriting on their smushed, sloppy copy of their draft, they could be reading it on here, and it would make their drafting process much easier. So this is an app I had never used before, but I plan to use it in the fall whenever we go back, or if we do e-learning, because I think it's very easy for kids to figure out. I think it's fun and exploratory, and I think it would add a really cool writing connection to any reading comprehension lesson that you do.